in England?
I'm hugely excited because I remember when we hosted the Euros in 2005 and the level of attention was nowhere near what it is today. So just to see, the commitment from media outlets to promote the games and put the information out there about tickets and stadiums, and also the organisation of the tournament, obviously played throughout 8 stadiums, I believe, throughout the country, is just going to bring accessibility to the game across the country as well, and hopefully some new fans and new supporters, and maybe not even football fans who are going to tune in and want to be part of what is an amazing atmosphere. I think nothing really compares to tournament football atmosphere and just bringing people together and sharing in the passion. So I think it's going to be incredible, but mostly just to see top talent across Europe, doing what they do, and going to compete and battle, and hopefully England will be somewhere in the final where we can all get down and hopefully celebrate.
Talking about England, how do you rate their chances?
Yeah, I kind of see, I think, both ends of the coin. I think ultimately, sometimes the game evolves quicker than people expected, and perhaps that's why they hadn't really prepared it or planned ahead for this kind of outcome that we've witnessed across the season domestically in terms of attendances. But it's also a fantastic position to be in, to know that the interest is that big, and that people really want to, they're craving for football and to go and watch women's football. But of course there is the kind of logistical element to it, and I guess the financial element. But ultimately, from an athlete perspective, I guess, and just a passionate football fan as well, you just always want the entities that are organising these things to just think as big as they possibly can and give the game the biggest opportunity to keep growing and thriving. So I largely believe that's where the criticism comes from, is that everyone who's living it and working within it, sees where it can go and sees the big picture, and they just want people that are organising it and behind the scenes to also have that same belief that it can handle, I guess, those capacities and the numbers of people that probably will come and watch the Euros this summer.
Although it wasn't a home Euro, could have a bit of a standout tournament in your opinion?
For England or in general? Yeah, I mean, there's a number of players, to think off the top of my head, but obviously Guro Reiten's had a fantastic season with Chelsea, and with Norway I think she'll be one to watch as well. Obviously Graham Hansen for Norway. For England, you can't not talk about England without talking about Hemp, and Beth Mead and Leah Williamson, Georgia Stanway, Millie Bright. I think there will be influential leaders and forces, as well as Ellen White in the team. I mentioned some of the Dutch players before, but I think, you take Sweden as well. They had a great Olympics. You've got Magda Eriksson, obviously the captain of Chelsea there. Aslani, another forward player, kind of can play in multiple positions as well as a threat. And now Stenius, Swedish forwards, is at Arsenal. So, anyone who's following the WSL will definitely know those players and be looking out for them. But you can't also negate the French. They have a lot of threats in that team. Wendy Reynard, a centre-back who scores a lot of goals for a centre-back. Le Sommer, Uwahabi, there's Katoto, phenomenal squads. And that's the best part of watching this home Euros, is there's just going to be some fantastic teams going toe-to-toe with each other.
You mentioned those fantastic.
Extremely proud. I mean, as a young girl playing, my ambition was always to play for England, and it didn't necessarily happen on that smooth trajectory like most people would imagine, but I got there in the end. And that first time you put that England shirt on and you're singing the anthem and you're representing your country, you're representing everyone. It's so much bigger than just me and my teammates. It's all of us together, and it's a really special feeling. And I think about it now and I'm like, I'm never going to replicate that feeling again, walking out the tunnel, kitting up in your shirt, playing at international competitions that are just, viewed globally is such an incredible thing as a female athlete. And yeah, to all the young girls and all the younger players now who get to do that, they're really living a dream essentially, and it's a fantastic thing that they have role models. The younger generation have role models to look up to help them see that dream, that it can be a reality too.
And I want to ask you to compete when.
Well, I think England have a really great chance. We have a fantastic squad. I think we got a very good manager in terms of what she's instilled within this particular team and in their playing style, in their patient possession game, with lots of adaptability within the squad, which I think is really important for the longevity of tournament play. But ultimately, they've got to 3 semi-finals consecutively. So this is an England team that is competing at the highest level. Would put their expectations to get there, to get into those knockout phases. And of course, they're going to have to challenge the Dutch, the French, the Spanish, who are also an ascending force. Germany with their kind of historic legacy of winning major tournaments. But I think they've got all the components to do that, and they've shown that in previous tournaments. It's just those fine margins, and I think having that belief, when we get to those final stages.
You spoke about Spanish there. What's on that?
I think if everyone's focused on the kind of Champions League run of a Barcelona and watch Real Madrid and teams like Atletico, you can see that they are a very fluid kind of team where they are very composed in possession. There's lots of fluidity, a very organised structure in terms of their playing style. Players know where to be, and they kind of trust in their system, and they don't really adjust the way they play to other teams. They're more the sort of teams that go and take their games to the opposition. I think that's what we've seen domestically, and it's kind of what we're probably expecting with the Spanish national team as well, because a lot of those players obviously play at the national team as well. So they have a good understanding of each other from club level. I think arguably the biggest criticism may be that they maybe have lacked the kind of clinical finishers that we've seen with other European sides, in like an Arda Hegerberg, for example, for Norway. So, but they were definitely an exciting outfit with incredible players, and obviously Ballon d'Or winners, like Putellas to look out for. So they'll definitely be hot contenders this tournament.
You mentioned Barca hopefully win.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw with the men's Euros just how the whole nation kind of gets to a standstill, and it's all about the team and whatever everyone can do to support the team and put good vibes into the universe for them, and hopefully we can sort of emulate that and get a great mass of support behind our women's England team, because this is a great squad to watch with a dearth of talent, young talent, which is even more exciting because they have so many more years ahead of them for the coming tournaments in terms of the Olympics, the World Cup. To really follow them on this trajectory and journey is going to be immense, and I believe that with the support of the nation, we really could get them there, and really enjoy, hopefully all of us celebrating in that progress as well.
One team that could stop them in their tracks is...
Yeah, absolutely. But, we're probably in a great position by having a Dutch manager in Serena Wiegman who got them their success, who probably understands them quite well in terms of their processes, perhaps, and their playing style and their threats. But, of course, they've got a number of talented players like Lieke Martins, Van der Sanden, just to name a few, Van der Donk. So you got to stop those individuals as well from being at their best ultimately, and that's what it comes down to in tournament play. If you meet them, it's the team on the day that's the most clinical and makes the better decisions that usually gets the outcomes.
And should the team go?
Yeah, well, at the time, we had a tough run, I think, in the group. We didn't necessarily at the beginning have some really good performances, but then we managed to, in the final game of the group, and get to the knockout phases. And once we got into the knockout phases, then there was that real belief, like, guys, we actually could get to a final here. Like, we need to step it up and find that performance. And, it's easy to be critical because that's tournament football. It's a long game, you know. You might start slowly, not get the rhythm you want, but it's about when you get to the knockout phases, showing up and really getting the solid performances behind you, because I think once you get those performances, as we did, by that point, it gave everyone confidence and it gave us more belief. And we knew, of course, we lost to Germany in the end, but we knew they were going to be a tough outfit because they had won tournament after tournament after tournament. But just to get over that edge as an England team to now build that belief and that confidence was what I think has helped England now to get to where they are, where they actually believe we can compete and beat the top nations, the top 3-4 nations in the world.
You mentioned
well, I have to say England. I'm going to go with England because I actually really believe that we have enough quality in this squad to reach a final and hopefully build that belief as we go along in the competition to really get over the line. They got to 3 semi-finals. They definitely have it in them. And really in the last tournament, it was fine margins and maybe a lack of confidence that didn't quite get them over that line. So I believe we have really good chances, and especially being at home, hopefully with that home support will give them extra energy throughout the tournament.
You mentioned Serena.
Yeah, she seems a very assured, I think, manager. She really knows what she's about and what she wants to impart on the squad. She seems to have a nice, I believe, demeanour in terms of the way she handles the squad and the media and her interactions with the players in the squad, and the rotation she's done has looked quite seamlessly. Is that word? Seamless? Yeah, and I think that's important because tournaments, you just never know what can happen with your squad, you know, illnesses, injuries, lots of different challenges from outside. So you need everyone to pull together and have, I think, a good relationship as well in terms of communication. But she seems that she wants the team to be confident in possession and that they really enjoy having the ball and utilising their threats. And that's the thing I've enjoyed about watching the England team, is that they now seem to know exactly how to hurt other teams and not really waste time in getting the ball to our most dynamic players that can really pose questions and threats to the opposition.
Definitely. And
yeah, I mean, I've lucky enough to train with some of the girls at England, and to be able to work with them now in a day in, day out basis. I think that I'll learn so much from them, and I really do think that they'll help me take my game to the next level.